completely transparent with the faculty in order for them to understand, if they so choose, how to create potential curriculum or other structures within the school to help train future students. So really, in conclusion here, we're looking at long-term growth. We're just one of many companies endeavoring into this and keeping our eyes on this industry. We want to set the precedent and really establish a working model for other companies and other businesses and industry leaders to engage with IVC. We want this to be not only an approach around hemp, but to build a foundation to have the agricultural community and the industrial community that exists here to engage with IVC. This just happens to be a unique opportunity that is getting the dialogue started. So we hope that others will follow suit and that something can work out that brings the most benefit of both directions and is synergistic in the future. So thank you. Yeah, and because Ryan Kelly couldn't make it today, I'll speak a little bit about a little more about the economic development that this industry can bring to the Imperial Valley. I brushed over, but really, with the many applications we have for this plant, its diversity and the fact that as an agricultural community we can produce it and can produce it competitively, we have the opportunity to branch out and really establish a foundation and integration around the hemp industry as a whole. You know, CBD is like I said, a buzzword now. It has its place in the world, and it's a substantial product, but there's so many other applications, industrial applications for the crop, and the ability to be integrated as an industry from crop production to processing to sales and marketing and beyond of those crops, I think is a very real opportunity here for the Imperial Valley. This really equates to the tune to matching, if not superseding, the total economic value that agriculture as a whole has now for the valley. Some of the studies I mentioned earlier indicate, you know, in the tens of billions of dollars just in 2 years without a fully sophisticated market. 30,000 acres that we project in 3 years of production of hemp alone, on a cost basis alone, I believe that's about $500 million worth of economic activity just on a cost basis, and that's just a short-term outlook, and primarily focused on CBD production. So you can imagine what that looks like when you think of other applications of the crop, when you think of ancillary economic activity that comes along with. So it's quite substantial, and there's a unique opportunity to establish infrastructure through industry leaders, through the community support, working with all the county departments, from economic development to the Ag Commissioner to even private interests, to help build this out. So I encourage the questions. We encourage any discussion moving forward as a group ourselves, me personally, to discuss these opportunities. We're very transparent. We want to work with other farmers. We want to work with other industry leaders to make sure that they establish a foothold, and to understand that this will be a commodity and is commoditizing like anything else. So time's short to make sure that the Imperial Valley can really establish a foothold early on. Thank you.
So in closing, I would like to, if it wasn't clearly conveyed, to convey to you all that in order for a company like Primordia to conduct this agronomic research under the Farm Bill of 2018, they must partner with an institution of higher education. We would be, if approved, we would be the institution of higher education that they would partner in. And as a result, obviously, we're contributing collectively to preparing our students for an emerging industry that requires high skills that will pay more than the minimum wage. That would obviously lead to self-sufficiency. And as I stated during my introduction, I am committed to be responsive to the community. I am committed to increase our partnerships with our community and not only state it, but obviously reflect the direction. And as stated in our mission, we are trying to be responsive to our community needs. This is potentially an industry that will lead to a large number of employment opportunities, which ultimately impacts social and economic development. So I thank you all for being here with us this afternoon, for your interest. We will now answer any questions that you have. We're trying to be very transparent with this process. We also welcome your concerns. Thank you very much. And thank you to Sandra and Sutton. Thank you. Any questions? Please raise your hand. Over here, Ken. Oh. Is it?
Thank you. My name is Michael Kearney. I teach agriculture here at IVC, and for the purpose of the students, maybe you may hint something more about the difference between THC and CBD, just for the purpose of students to understand the two terms, because people talk about THC and CBD. Thank you.
Yeah, I'll give it a run, but, and disclaimer, I'm not an expert on it. I've done enough research, I think I can speak to it. THC is one of over 100 cannabinoids found in the cannabis plant that has psychoactive qualities. It is what's known as the drug. It's the one that gets you high, and is what is regulated under the Controlled Substance Act, and essentially through the production of the crop or of the plant. CBD, short for cannabidiol, is another cannabinoid molecule, very similar to THC, except it does not have the psychoactive effects that CBD does. I mean, that THC does, excuse me. CBD has been found and just recently through pharmaceutical trials to unequivocally hinder epileptic seizures, to stop epileptic seizures. It also has been known anecdotally to treat anxiety, depression issues, muscular issues, even claims for pain and inflammation. Now, a lot of the claims, to be clear, are not substantiated necessarily with science. As the FDA now injects itself after the passing of the Farm Bill into regulating CBD as a consumable good. Any claims that are made that have not been substantiated by FDA standards will be evaluated. But the bottom line is that both affect the endocannabinoid system in your brain. One creates psychoactive effects, and the other treats, is used and has effects on issues that are more therapeutic in nature. So that's my understanding. Now, let me add one more thing too. Hemp has other cannabinoids available in it, and there's research now coming out, and not just recently. I mean, there's experts that have been doing this for years around the world, but there's other cannabinoids that are found in industrial hemp. CBD is the hot ticket topic right now, and it's mainly because of some of the science found and what it can actually be used to treat. But there's a long list of other cannabinoids that many argue really need to be considered as part of the therapeutics that CBD offers, and what's called an entourage effect, or basically a system of cannabinoids that work together to achieve a desired result. So as we explore this industry, we find other market potentials, other uses for these other rare cannabinoids, as they're called, and that can be developed, bred, extracted from the hemp plant. Yes, sir.
Do you have any idea of the potential for drip irrigation with the hemp plant?
Yeah, so just like any other agriculture commodity, there's potential for irrigation innovation. You know, as Sandra mentioned, it's treated like any other agricultural commodity now that the Farm Bill passed. Obviously transitioning into clear regulation from the USDA and CEFA. One of the great qualities of hemp is that it's not a huge water user. So as we talk about water conservation or irrigation practices, just like any other crop, there's different methodologies that can be applied. Yes, sir.
Are there any water quality effects with growing practices of hemp as far as nutrients switching into the water system? If it's going to be treated as, I guess, any other agricultural product?
Just like any other agricultural product, if I understand you correctly, it will have implications of leaching, I guess you would call it, which, you know, really depend on your irrigation methodology, what kind of nutrients or materials you're using in the soil. I can tell you that our approach primarily is to produce the crop organically, evaluate and conduct the research to see if that's feasible and viable. When you talk about certain applications of the crop through extraction of oils that contain those cannabinoids, you have issues of concentrations of certain materials, chemicals, hard metals, even through uptake of the plant. So, and just being by nature of the product itself is generally more of a health